My name's Noel. I'm a psychotherapist. Welcome to this video blog on looking at sort of internet and media addiction, some of the issues around that, some of the positives and negatives of sort of our current lifestyle, particularly around the use of carrying around computers with us all the time, call them smartphones or tablets, and having access almost constantly to that sort of stimulation. First thing I'm going to say though is this isn't going to be a blog that tells you sort of how terrible technology is, because it's not. I think it was Plato, he's a sort of ancient Greek philosopher, sort of often attributed with the beginning of sort of modern sort of culture, if you like, the sort of culture, Western culture that we're in. I think it was Plato who used to sort of argue that this newfangled technology that was around in his time was going to rot the brain, as it were, destroy our memory and end culture and civilization as they knew it at that point. And that newfangled technology was indeed writing, which on reflection is probably a good thing that we developed writing. I guess it's a sort of cautionary tale that about sort of making predictions about current changes in our world, to assume that they're going to be devastatingly bad. Literate culture, if you like, or writing has had profound impacts on us as human beings indeed, and profoundly positive ones on us, and actually sort of literate conceptions of self, or that aspect of our culture or mind that has grown from the capacity to think, use language, write, read and write. It's a very important part of our psychological makeup, and when it doesn't exist in people, it can often be a very big problem. So yes, the technology around us is having an impact on us, and we're still yet to really understand the full impact and the long term, whether it's a benefit, what the benefits are and what the problems are. But we do know some stuff that's emerged, that these types of screens, particularly blue screens, have a direct impact on the brain. They produce things like dopamine, which is a reward chemical. In some people, those people that have that predisposition, it activates addictive aspects of self. And again, you do need to have that sort of that thing within you. You need to have sort of been born with that predisposition, we think. And you would need to do some sort of genetic monitoring to figure that one out, whether you are at risk of that. But in those people at risk of addiction anyway, overuse of modern technology can be a real problem. We have a new term for internet addiction disorder, which is increasingly being used by us as part of that range of behaviours and activities that we now think are connected. All of them are connected. And connected on the neurological level. So you can't really see what's going on inside somebody's brain, but we do think that all these things, heroin addiction, alcoholism, sex addiction, shopping, work, the way some people respond to these types of things, and now we include sort of the use of the internet in that, and gaming in particular. We see that as part of that sort of addiction spectrum. There's still a lot of debate around it and a lot of research to be done, but I think there is growing evidence, the growing consensus that for some people at least, these things can be really, really problematic. And you need to get some specialist help in there if you think you or somebody else has an issue around internet addiction. And it's more than just, leave me alone, I need to finish this level. You'll see quite a withdrawal from society, quite an antisocial behaviour, maybe outbursts of anger, sort of emotional dysregulation, etc. In yourself or somebody that you care about, if that's what's going on. In the same way that you'd see somebody have these emotional withdrawal problems, anger management, relationship issues, isolation issues, if they were using any other drug. And essentially that's what it is. For some people it becomes a drug. On the converse side of that, sort of the use of games, the use of the internet, the use of social media has had some incredibly beneficial impacts. Tetris, a game that some people will know, is a very simple game they can use that actually predates, I think, smartphones. That's been used by the British Army, for example, to help reduce the impact, the development of post-traumatic stress disorder in soldiers coming off the front line. Exactly. I mean, isn't that interesting? And it's something about how it interferes with memory processing, so that trauma memories don't even get in. So it reduces the impact of trauma. There was new research I was reading just a couple of months ago on the use of a virtual reality game in the treatment of pain. So they were again working, I think some American military were working with soldiers who had large amount of burns on their bodies, and this can be really problematic. It's horrible, and the amount of pain that's involved is terrible for those people. And then the prescription of sort of opiate-based drugs to stop the pain can be just as problematic as well. So there are real issues around the sort of dependency on those types of drugs. And they've developed a new video game, I think it's called ICE actually, which has a better impact on pain management, a virtual reality video game that has a better impact on pain management than the drugs themselves, which is fascinating to see those types of developments. So I'm not here saying that technology, gaming, the internet, the use of phones are all bad, but there are some issues to look out for, the internet addiction being one. Other issues to look out for is this overstimulation through the use of dopamine, which is never a good idea. Our attention spans are definitely dropping, and perversely we may be seeing the decreasing use of reading as a skill, and that sort of ability to create imaginary worlds in our head that it gives us, and to be very creative in our relationship to each other. So that would be pretty serious if that were to become true, the loss of that sort of literate aspect of self. I really just wanted to point at some of the positives and negatives of this world that we're living in at the moment, and that what we need to do as parents, as educators, as therapists, is to have a very balanced approach to this. Our kids are the ones who are growing up in this world very directly, and it's directly affecting them. There are serious issues around cyberbullying, for example, and how we work with kids around sort of managing that. Trolling is what it's called with adults, but it's exactly the same thing. It's bullying. And developing new skills and tools around how we manage these issues for ourselves, and how we manage them for our kids. So I guess the concluding points I have to make about this are to be very thoughtful about our use of these smartphones, our computers, getting on 24/7 on the news, etc. To have some downtime from them and ability to reflect upon them. When I go out for a meal with friends, for example, we create what we call a phone tree, where we put all the phones, all the smartphones in the middle of the table, and nobody's allowed to use them. And if somebody does reach out to use them, they get to pay the bill. Which is fair enough, I think. So that we actually just get back to having a meal together and socialising together as friends, without the interruption of those types of things. It's not always possible, I guess. If you're on call and you're a doctor at an emergency centre, you may need to have a bleep and go off and save somebody's life. So we have to be realistic about that. And again, that's the point I'm making, is about having a realistic, balanced approach to these things. There's more information around some of the issues that exist on the blog itself. So go over to the website, www.noelmcdermott.net, and check out the blog. There's more information underneath this video. Hope you found that useful. Do get in touch if you or somebody else that you're involved with, that you care about, you think they have problems around the use of the internet or gaming. Get in touch. My number's 07506 319 745. That's a UK number, so if you're dialing from outside, just add a plus and a 44 and drop off the first zero. So 07506 319 745, or email me info@noelmcdermott.net. Great to see you. There'll be a whole bunch of videos. I'm going to a thing called iCAD next